Well, hello everybody. I'm not sure if I'm going to do one more video after this one, if I am able to make enough progress digging my pond, but I just, first of all, wanted to say that this video is aimed at a couple individuals, but may be beneficial to people more collectively. So there's this book, and I haven't read it in a really long time, but I flipped through it briefly, and it's called The On Purpose Person. Okay? There's also this book called Fascinating Womanhood, and some of you ladies are familiar with me talking about this. Okay, but I flipped through this briefly when I decided to put it back out. So I was like, well, what do I want to be looking at? And, I just wanted to have a quick conversation because I think it's important for people to be actually very intentional about who they want to be and how they want to live their life. Okay? For example, when my Hezekiah was just like, sweetheart, you gotta not live in sweatpants like 24/7. And I was like, you have a very good point. And I was recognizing that not only did I not want to be that person living in my sweatpants, and some of you guys know the levels of distress and stuff that I was under after about, towards the end of last July. And, I had to deal with a lot of stuff, and it was not a good time. We were doing some pretty heavy stress testing, and that didn't just negatively impact me. Okay. And that goes into this conversation a little bit further. But it's just important to decide who you want to be and how you want to live your life. And when I go out to the store and I see people that are totally schlumping, I would like to be able to not care what other people think about me enough to be able to do that. But I like seeing the people that are dressed nice when you just go out to the store, and it just makes me smile to see them and they care about how they're presenting themselves and like upholding some level of civility in society. And I decided I wanted to be that kind of person. So now, even though I don't have like an expansive wardrobe that fits me anymore, but even when I did, I like wasn't putting on nice stuff to leave the house. Whereas like now I have no problem putting on like even just like a nice dress, like a modestly nice dress, not like some, not like the dress I was wearing in my video the other day. I don't leave the house in that. Hezekiah would not want me to leave the house in that video. Okay. So, but anyways, I'm guessing what I'm saying is like when you decide, when you can look at yourself and say, you know what, there's this thing about my life or about how I'm doing things that I don't like and I want to change it. Well, you just have to be intentional about it, So you have to be an on purpose type of person. So whatever it is in your life. And, I guess I feel a little bit sad right now because, the two people that this is geared more towards is, one of my friends. I really want him to be able to watch his son grow up. It's like a prayer that I have. And I know that things didn't work out. And there were some problems that you guys were dealing with, and I don't necessarily really feel like you guys should have gotten divorced. I still think of you guys as being married. Okay? And I know he and I, we have our issues and stuff too, right? And then you leaving didn't help that situation. Okay, so take some accountability for that. And that's in the past. But sometimes people are workaholics and they're not doing things right by their own families. They're trying to like be providers and they get caught up. But I just want you to also understand that his situation wasn't normal because there's all this psychotic stuff going on that he has also been subjected to on, a lesser level. But this stuff is so crazy that even my own team, when they get put in the crosshairs, guys that have been working on this crazy stuff with me for, years, they leave the country. They can't handle it. Okay? And your husband, I'm just going to call him your husband because that's how I see him, is he's your husband. He didn't leave the country and he's been dealing with all sorts of stuff. And he didn't want to tell you because how could you understand? He wouldn't want to like invite like ridicule from his own wife, and he wouldn't want you to be afraid either. Because he either knew that you guys were either going to be safe or not. And he didn't want you to have to live every day of your life in fear. And so I think you guys just have some stuff that you need to work out, and I hope that he can watch his son grow up. And I think it's like, no matter how you decide you want to like live your life intentionally, I'm pretty sure that you and I can both agree that, you'd probably like to be able to live a life where your son can go walk out into the garden and pick a fresh snow pea and pop it into his mouth and realize how delicious it is. Delicious it is. Okay? So it's like, it's tough. And I know you guys have like money. You're not like loaded that like, oh, you can go anywhere, do anything, or buy anything in the entire world. But you guys are very like financially secure people. So it's like, is the life that you have or the life that you are building, is it the life that you really wanted, that you like intentionally like decided that this is what I want and this is what makes me happy? Or is it like the life that you thought that people were supposed to want? Or the life that you thought would make you look successful to other people? Like you need to actually figure out like, what do you like? What kind of person do you want to be like? How do you want to live your life? And, I just want to, I'm not like just trying to chastise the female here, because I think also like men need to understand it's like you need to lead your women with love and protection, right? And I think that sometimes it's like, a lot of us, we actually cope with a lot of PTSD, like extraordinary PTSD, and like constantly elevated cortisol levels that phrase at us in ways that people who haven't walked our paths can't comprehend. Okay, and he doesn't want you to have to comprehend it. But at the same time, it's like there still needs to be recognition. Like, you got to lead your woman with love and protection. And I know it looks like I'm doing some quote unquote strong, independent woman thing, but that's actually not what's going on here. Okay, because my Hezekiah is protecting me. I have a lot of people protecting me, but including my Hezekiah, and he's not actually quite so far away anymore, even though we have, policies that keep us physically not in extremely close proximity that we have to kind of manage for now. But, my Hezekiah, he is protecting me. Other people are protecting me. And it's him protecting me that lets me do this. That I can go to the store and I don't have to worry. I don't worry about whether or not I'm going to be safe when I go to the store. All these cars drive by, I don't worry about anything. And some people know the reality of my circumstances. I do not live my life in fear. I live my life with faith. And part of that is because my Hezekiah is protecting me. Okay, so it's like when we as women, when we have a strong man and strong men protecting us, okay, it allows us to like become more full in ourselves. And the same thing, like we women need to understand that like when we honor our men, it allows them to become more full in themselves. It's kind of like how some women, they think that withholding sex is the way to get what they want from their man, when really it just makes him shrink in on himself when you do that. Okay? And if a woman has ever been subjected to that from her husband, where he's withholding any intimacy as leverage, like, it feels... My ex-husband used to do that. I mean, there's a whole lot more problems than that, but, it's not a good thing. That's why I say, like, read that book. How do we build each other up? And like, how do we live the lives that we want to live? Not the life, don't look at someone else's life and say, oh, that's the life I want, or oh, I want to be like that person. We'll figure out specifically what it is that appeals to you about that. And then just like bring it into yourself. You don't have to try to be somebody else. Just bring it into who you are. In an intentional way, because we all get to choose our own adventures. Every day when we wake up, we get to choose our own adventures, and there's always going to be things we can't control. And there's going to be things that we can control, right? So how do we exercise our sovereignty to be who we want to be and live our life the way we want to live? You could have all the money in the world, but if you're living your life as a slave to the perceptions of other people, like, are you really free? So I don't know, figure out what it is that you all really want and how you can both be happy and like satisfied and fulfilled in life, even if it's like you want to try something and you're not sure if you're going to succeed. Because maybe you guys want to do some of this. Maybe you want to know what it's like to have a flock of geese or to plant some things, maybe with a little bit of a slightly less shish kebabbed kitchen and house. Okay, but maybe you want to try it out and maybe you'll decide that you don't like it, but at least you'll be able to know that you tried it. You know, I fail all the time. You got to not be afraid of failure. I fail all the time. I like strive towards failure. I rush towards it. Okay? And then when I'm done, I've learned something and I knew I tried. And sometimes if there's a certain outcome that I want bad enough, then I try again. Or I start over or whatever I gotta do. Okay? I fail all the time. It's like constantly. I mean, obviously not every single time. I do some things right every once in a while. Okay? But don't live your life in fear, even if it's just fear of like something not working out, because I know some of you, it's like you've been living these like artificial lives, trying to be successful in other people's eyes, you know? And you're just like, what is this dumpster fire of a life that I've gotten myself into that's not satisfying? Okay? Well, maybe it's time to try something different and, you know, even like your guys' nicer house, you could rent it out for a little while, like, you know, and like try something else. And then if it doesn't work out, just, you know, go back to your house that you're used to. You don't have to necessarily make a permanent leap. You can go work on somebody else's farm for a little while and see how you like it. Somebody who maybe has like an accessory dwelling unit or something like that. Oh, hello, cricket. Oh. But I don't know. You know, think about it, but think about the value of your son getting to grow up with his father. Okay? My own daughter, she didn't get that. And there's a whole lot of reasons why she didn't get that. And it's not ideal. It's not something that anybody should ever strive towards. Okay? So I think that if there's a way to work it out, I really hope that you guys will. Take it easy.